the people that were investing didn't like the fact that he told them they couldn't take their money out. So, you know, having an allocation, rebalancing, you know, there was also in 2008, when you have a portfolio, we have this sliver here, I think that was what? That was the domestic equities, and all of a sudden, our equity position starts to get larger and the market bottoms out. I'm going to lose more because I didn't rebalance. You have to be disciplined in your portfolio. And or whoever's managing for you has to be disciplined, because in an 08 situation, there were some big institutional managers that got caught with their pants down because they didn't rebalance the portfolios the way they probably should have, and the portfolios actually lost more. 529 plans, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but if you, 529 plans, the Vanguard manages the 529 plans for Pennsylvania. They are a great tool to help fund education for children and grandchildren. There's possibly state income tax deductions for making contributions to a 529 plan. When you use the money for a qualified education expense, there's no tax on any of the gains. The other thing is, if you are the grandparents that do all the extra stuff for the grandkids, if you start one of these, not only can you make contributions to it, you can invite other people to make contributions, like aunts and uncles if they wanted to. If you have kids or grandkids that are in another state, Pennsylvania's plan, I think, is pretty good. If they're going to go to a school or a state, at least a state school in Pennsylvania. But if you have, you know, I have some clients where they're from Montana. So most of the families there, they're here. And if they were, I think they have a child that moved back there, they have a grandchild there, and they may want to start a 529 plan for their grandchild. I have a sales desk that I can call that says, where's the best place for somebody in Montana to get a 529 plan? And it may not be Montana. Montana may not even have a 529 plan. And even if they did, Virginia might be the best place to buy the 529 plan. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but you want to find that out because you want to get what the most bang for your buck. One thing I can say that I can tell you in this environment today is that I would find it hard pressed to do a 529 plan not with Vanguard in Pennsylvania. 529 plans in Pennsylvania with Vanguard are Vanguard direct. There's no rep involved, there's no advisor. Everybody knows Vanguard has what, low fees, right? They have two plans. They have an investment plan, and then they have a prepaid tuition plan. You can buy prepaid tuition credits today. So whatever factor you want to think, you know, it's probably like a 5 to 8% guaranteed rate of return if you watch where tuition's gone over the last 10 years. But you can buy American funds. You can buy other, you know, and the question is where's the best place where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. If you were in my office and you asked me, I'm not supposed to tell you that. I can tell you that if you ask me, I can tell you it's available, but if I recommend you go direct to somebody, that's called selling away, and you're not allowed to do that. But here I can. So, again, 529 plans, they're great. Use them if you want to. Encourage your kids to buy them for their kids. Because you know, the one thing I think that's very broken is the cost of education today. You know, we have kids getting out of school with, you know, probably more than what you paid for your house originally in the 80s with their meds. So procrastination is your greatest investment risk if you're not investing on a regular basis. Monthly investments of $500 starting at age 45 to 65, and then starting at age 46 to 65. We can see the difference there. Difference of about $42,000 plus $402 of income in retirement. Any questions on investments? Managing risk. how do you can retain it, you can reduce it, you can avoid it, or you can transfer it. Property and casualty. Homeowners, renters, automobile, umbrella, liabilities. You know, if you have kids that are living away from home that are just starting out and they're renting, make them get renter's insurance as best you can, right? You may not be able to force them to do it, but they should have. Because I've seen catastrophes where you fire in an apartment building, or if they're renting an apartment, you know, somebody's part of the house, and all of a sudden they're out on the streets and they don't have anything to replace all the stuff that was in there. I don't know if Brian, usually when I do the second class, I talk about, and I don't want to be redundant, but when I go through the homework, there was a place there for you to answer, you know, whether or not you have homeowners and if you have a personal catastrophe or an umbrella policy. Did he get that last week? Okay. So, I don't want to have anything to do with homeowners insurance, automobile insurance, an umbrella policy. Okay. I want to have something to do with it for myself. I have to have it for me, right, for my house, in my home, in my automobile. But from a financial planning perspective, I always want to take a look at everybody's auto, home, and umbrella policy. I don't do property and casualty insurance, so there's nothing in it for me to really, if you up your coverage or get coverage that you need. But what I want to make sure is that my clients have adequate amount of coverage for what their net worth is. So if you're married, you have a home, you have retirement assets, you have other savings possibly, and an unfortunate circumstance can happen, right? You back over a kid in the neighborhood, what can happen? They're going to sue you, right? And they're going to sue you for whatever you're worth, maybe, you know, if it's bad enough. And if you're worth $1 million and you don't have an umbrella policy that sits on top of your home and your auto, they may come after you personally. So if you're worth $2 million, you should have $2 million of liability coverage. So typically, there's some carriers that do have more, but usually on the home and the auto, it's usually maybe about $500,000 of liability coverage that you can have. And then if you can add an umbrella policy at $1 million or $2 million, depending on your net worth, that sits on top of those policies, that would insure your net worth. So if that unfortunate circumstance happened, you would have the right coverage in place in order to protect your home. Now, if you go home and Google it, typically retirement assets are protected, but you know, an umbrella policy for $1 million typically is going to be just shy of $200 a year. So if it helps you sleep, you know, to add that on to your policy. The other thing would be to look at where your net worth is, and if you have, you know, you might be able to reduce your liability on your auto and your home. If maybe you only need if you only need $1 million of coverage, and you have 300 and 300 on your auto and home, or your auto and home, maybe you could do that, so you might be able to offset some of those costs as well.